Hey guys, it's Kenny with Flytime RC. I'm going to show you guys all the other planes in my hangar. I put out a video, probably been a couple months ago, about all the planes that I'm flying now. But I'm going to show you all the stuff that's on the wall, all my projects that have been kind of put on the back burner for several months and some even longer than that. So we're going to go ahead and start over here, and I'll show you guys some old planes from when I first started flying. This red one right here is actually the very first V-tail that I ever built. And it's actually still flyable right now. I stole the servo off of it, and the tail servos, but it still flies. This one over here, the green one, this is the first, I think this was like the third V-tail that I ever built, but it's the first forward swept wing that I ever did. And this was actually a really fast plane. This is somewhere over around 100-mile-an-hour plane. Very fast, really fun to fly. You can see the nose is really crunched up. That's one that I was trying to do a speed run, and I just barely touched the elevator down and crunched it right into the ground. That was really disappointing. This is a plane that some of you guys might remember who have been a sub to my channel for at least over a year. This is a speed plane that I built. This is my first dual motor plane. You can see the motor mounts there. This plane has never actually flown. I had bought two motors and the ESCs and had it all hooked up, but I had an ESC issue where the two motors burnt up, and you can see where they got hot right here. So I had an electrical issue on this plane, and ended up taking the parts out and using them on other builds. So there it sits on the wall. It's ready to fly. I just need to get around to getting two new motors and ESC, two new ESCs, and then I think I was going to run this on 4Cell. I can't remember. I have some 4x4 props, or no, 4x4.1 props. So it should have been something like 130 or 140 mile an hour plane. But I haven't got to test it yet. We have Orange Julius here, which is ready to fly. And then we have the wing. Well, it's kind of give you a good scale of the 90-inch V-tail. It's monstrous. So we have the 90-inch V-tail wing here. And we have the 90-inch V-tail fuselage here with the DJI Air Unit Pro 4. Awesome plane. And we have the GTV2. Again, people who have been subbed to my channel for at least over a year will remember this one. It's the GTV2, and this is I call it the GTV because it's a glider V-tail tail dragger. So this one actually did have landing gear that I ripped off of it, and I've just flown it without landing gear. This one still flies. It's got an itty-bitty motor on it. Let's see, what is this? This is a flight test 1806, just a tiny little motor that I run on 2Cell with a 7x4 prop, I believe is what I've ran on there. But it's a really good flying plane, really efficient. I have a little 800 milliamp 2Cell that I fly in it. Usually fly for 12, maybe 15 minutes. It flies for a really long time, and it's just a joy to fly. But I haven't had it in the air for, 6 months at least. Here is the hightail. This is the first hightail that I ever built. It's the only one I built, actually. It's kind of a glider. It's kind of a fast wing. But I have kind of a slow motor on it. I have a 10x7 prop, so this thing can go fairly quickly. I think this is like a 60-mile-an-hour plane, and it handles pretty good too. It's good at doing tricks and flips and stuff. It's a good flying plane. This thing flies right now. It's just another plane that I haven't flown in at least a couple months. I remember flying it at least a couple times this summer. We have the flight test Scout. This is the XL. This is one of the first planes I ever bought and built from flight tests, but I never actually flew it until almost 2 years after I built it. I have a really fast, badass 2826 motor. It's a big motor, 1300 kV, I believe, or maybe it's 1030 kV. Super fast, way too much power for this plane. It's got a 12x4 prop on it, but it's way overpowered. Makes it pretty fun. This thing will do tricks for days. Flies upside down, really awesome. I need to fly it more. This is my old Cub. This is the second Cub that I built. And it will fly as well, but I stole all the servos off of it. I have a habit of doing that. I fly a plane for a while, maybe crash it, something breaks, I steal the servos off of it, build another plane. I do have enough parts, though, to get it back up in the air, but I decided to save it because it was my favorite Cub. You guys can go back to my videos a year ago, and we did some awesome slow flying and tricks and flying upside down. This plane was awesome. Really good trick plane. Then we have just one of my recent V-tails. I think I built, I don't know, about 8 months ago. And it still flies, but as you can see, it's missing aileron servo and V-tail servos and a motor, because I stole those so I could build a different plane. But I decided to keep this plane around and hang it on the wall because it was such a good flying plane. Eventually I'll put parts back on it and fly it again. This is a plane that most of you guys probably haven't seen unless you've been a sub to my channel for a long time. This is the original speed plane that I got 115 miles an hour with. It's very small. It's low wing. You can see it's got quite a bit of dihedral. And you can also see it has a hole burnt in it. The last time I flew this plane, I did a 104 mile an hour run. Just having fun, and I pushed it way too hard for way too long, just flying it around, having fun, and ended up burning up the ESC. I had a 40 amp ESC, probably should have had a 60 amp in there. ESC caught fire, the plane went down, and luckily it actually came down in pretty good shape. I stole the servos out of it and hung it up on the wall. I believe I could probably make it fly again if I really wanted to. But for now, it's just a wall hanger, because it's the fastest plane that I've ever built, at least on record. I have some others that are as fast or close, but I don't have actual speed numbers for them. This is the Spicy Nacho. This is one I actually built pretty recently, and this is a badass plane. It's fast. It's something like 85 miles an hour. Really fast, a really small plane, and it handles amazing. It's got a small motor on it. It flies for a long time. But we had some failures taking off the last time. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the Spectrum receiver with safe that we had in there. But I kept having issues with it taking off. And it ended up hitting the ground and obviously crunching the nose. Totally destroying it. And I haven't taken the time to fix it, unfortunately. I really need to, because this plane is probably one of my favorite planes I've ever built, because it's so fast, it handles so good, it flies great. It's just an awesome plane, but something happened and the nose got crunched. So kind of bummed about that. I need to fix it and get it in the air. This plane up here is the very first pusher plane I ever built. So right now I have quite a few pushers, but this was about a year ago, and this was my very first pusher. It actually worked. So I had a motor mounted back here. I think I ran this on 3-cell and 2 ailerons. No rudder, just elevator in the back up there. And this was awesome. You guys can look back at some of my older videos and see how well it flew. It just flew amazing. It was a good plane. The only reason I stopped flying it is because it was my very first try, and the whole tail section wasn't as strong as I think it should have been. It actually flexed a little bit, which at high speeds are really going really hard on the elevator pulling up and stuff like that. You could feel it would get kind of shaky because it's just not as strong as it could have been my very first try. So it wasn't as good as it could have been. It did fly pretty decently, but the one I built after this was much better. It was a good learning experience. Let's see. Oh, I have Eclipse up here. This is the very first monster plane that I built. This is an 80-inch plane. Um, as you can see, I've cut it apart. I was gonna steal the carbon fiber rod that goes through the wing, but it turned out that it was broken in half, so I just kind of left it. The tail is still in decent shape. This was another V-tail. This was a tractor style V-tail. But I built this over a year ago, and I had this plane up in the air for months. This was a really good plane. This is an 80-inch plane. Before this, I built a 60-inch. So at the time, this was the biggest plane I had ever built, and man, this thing was amazing. Flew awesome, handled it great, had really good flight times. Just an amazing plane. Unfortunately, I was flying it up at a friend's house, flying it up around his house, and the plane went behind the house out of my view just for like a split second. I just couldn't see it. And ended up crashing directly into the roof of his barn. And by the time it hit the ground, it had broken the fuselage in half. And I could have saved it, but once something big like that happens, it's kind of hard to make it right again. And I flew this thing at I think 80 miles an hour, 80 something. I'll have to look back at some of my videos, but between 75 and 80 miles an hour. It's a fast plane, so I couldn't risk trying to fix it and get it up in the air again and trying to fly it the way I used to fly it. Lastly, here we have what I think is the coolest plane I've ever built. This is the one I probably spent the most time on. This is my ultralight. And I'm going to put up some better pictures because it's hanging from the ceiling right now and you can't really see it that good. But this is my version of the ultralight 103. It's the whole wing is suspended on these wooden dowels. It's got a standard tail. It's got big metal geared servos. Has flaps and ailerons. Big wing. This is a 60-inch plane. And it's got a little removable seat in it too, which is kind of cool. It still has all the electronics in it. I plan on flying this thing again, but I just haven't messed with it in a long time. The main reason is it's so big I can't fit it in the car. It's actually a little bit too long, especially with the motor on it. Right now you can see the motor is missing. I've had a couple different motors on here, and you guys can look back. I did a ton of videos testing props, testing motors. I went through a lot of motors, and well, not a lot of motors, 2 motors, but a lot of props trying to make this thing fly. And I did eventually get it to fly really good. But I still need more power. And I've actually thought about recently turning it into a gas powered plane. I'm not really sure. I need to do something, maybe even a 6S. Because I've ran 4S in it, and it really needs more power. So I've been thinking maybe I'll do something bigger. But this plane is super cool, and I really need to get it up in the air. But that's all the planes I have right now. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this one. This is actually my wife's plane, and I've flown it a ton, and my son's flown it a ton. And I think it was the first plane, or no, second plane I got from Flight Test. And I've had a couple different motors on it over the last almost 2 years. But it's an awesome little plane. It's just a mini Scout, and it flies amazing. It's just a cool little plane, and I've been holding on to it forever. It has a burnt up motor on it, and it's just another project I haven't gotten around to fixing. But yeah, tons of planes. Most of them don't work. Some of them, they just have really good memories flying them, or maybe they were just really good first tries, and I really enjoy them, and so they're hanging on the ceiling, and I'll probably hold on to them for a long time. My son actually has some upstairs in his bedroom as well, hanging up of some of his favorite planes from over the last couple of years. But yeah, this is basically the airplane hangar. This is all my planes now, and hopefully this one over here, this purple one, I'll have up in the air one of these days soon. And same with the ultralight. I'll get that sucker back up in the air again. But yeah, I think that's it for this one, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and you guys will look back at some of my past videos and see some of these planes that are hanging on the wall. See them up in the air when they were flying really good, and we just had so much fun with them. But yeah, that's it, guys. We'll see you in the next one.